I'm Ram Tanguturi, and today on Voice and Wisdom Oneness 101, we will be reviewing the 12 Principles of Oneness. I will be citing corresponding scriptural references from our family of religions of the world that support these 12 Principles of Oneness mentioned in our first video of Oneness 101. Please leave in the comments below your own personal favorites from the writings of your religion. Everybody that knows me knows I love chocolate. Ram used to give me every year on my birthday the number of roses that corresponded to my age and a piece of chocolate for every year of my age. Needless to say, as I got older, I had to share because the chocolate got to be too much. As if there could be such a thing. These 12 principles of oneness are like those chocolates, full of gooey goodness and the mystery of what's inside. How are we going to choose to enjoy these 12 pieces of goodness? Everybody wants to squeeze the chocolate to try to make sure they aren't going to eat something they don't like, which for me is coconut. So here we go. Firstly, where did these 12 principles of oneness come from? In 2001, as Ram was flying over the Atlantic Ocean on his way to Africa for more teaching on oneness, he was awakened from his sleep on the plane by the voice. The voice said, "Wake up, write these words down and share them with the world. These are the 12 principles of oneness." So Ram wrote them down as he received a sort of a download from the voice. And we have found these 12 principles to be acceptable to most people of most faiths and religions, as well as to agnostics and the atheists that we know. People have told us, for example, that these principles have answered the question of, okay, I believe in true one God or divine consciousness, now what? Ask yourself if practicing these 12 principles will cause you any harm. Adopt what you can of what you find acceptable. Live by these principles and see if your life is better, if you and your family are happier. And any one of these 12 principles can serve as your focus for meditation, and you repeat as often as you can. Here are the 12 principles of oneness with the corresponding scriptures and writings from multiple religions of the world. First principle of oneness: love, worship, and honor God with praise, obedience, sacrifice, humility, and seeking forgiveness. Place God first in every thought, word, and action. From Confucianism we read, to put the world in order, we must first put the nation in order. To put the nation in order, we must first put the family in order. To put the family in order, we must first cultivate our personal life. We must first set our hearts right. This is from the Analects of Confucius. From Judaism, we read from the Jewish Tanakh, Deuteronomy 10, "And now, Israel, what does the Lord your God want of you? Only to fear the Lord your God, to go in all his ways and to love him, and to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, to guard the commandments of God and his statutes." That seeking forgiveness component is hard for some who would say to themselves that their ability to a sin is greater than the mercy of God, and do actually refuse and scorn the mercy of God, and thereby lose an opportunity for transformation, to which Zoroaster provides solutions.
Zoroastrianism, excerpts from Yasna 34. As to these 3 gifts of blessings, immortality, the righteous order, and the established kingdom of welfare, which thou, O Mazda, hast given through holy deeds, words, and the sacrifice unto these, thy servants here in my sight, gifts shall be offered by us in return to thee, O Ahura, and with the foremost of them all. Yea, and all those gifts of the good spirit have been given back in gratitude to thee, by the mind and the deed of the bountiful man, whose soul goes hand in hand with the righteous order in the settlement, in homage toward the one like you. What is then your kingdom, O Mazda? What are your riches, that I may become your own in my actions with the righteous order and thy good mind to care for your poor in their suffering? Which, of what kind, is your sovereignty? That is, what thing can I do whereby your sovereignty may be increased through my instrumentality? And which is your wealth, That is, what thing shall I do whereby riches may be kept in your possession by my means? How thus in the actions of Ahura Mazda shall I become yours? If thus ye are in verity, O Mazda, with a righteous order and thy good mind, then grant ye me a sign of this in this world's entire abiding, while I live amid its scenes, how offering sacrifice and praising you the more devoutly, I may approach you in my worship. I know none other than you. Then do ye save us through your righteousness. Teach thou us the paths through righteousness, those verily trod by thy good mind, as he lives within thy saints. Hinduism, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8. Have me then in thy heart always, and fight. Thou too, when heart and mind are fixed on me, shall surely come to me. All who come, who cleave with non-wavering will of firmest faith, owning none other gods, all come to me, the uttermost Purusha, holiest.
The second principle of oneness is God is almighty, present all over, all-knowing and most gracious. Experiencing God beyond any physical shape or earthly object is vital. Do not use God's name for selfish or unrighteous purposes.
Hinduism, Bhagavad Gita. That way, the highest way, goes he who shuts the gates of all his senses, locks desire safe in his heart, centers the vital airs upon his parting thought, steadfastly set, and murmuring Om, the sacred syllable, emblem of Brahm, dies, meditating me. For who, none other gods regarding, looks ever to me, easily am I gained by such a yogi, and, attaining me, they fall not, those Mahatmas, back to birth, to life, which is the place of pain, which ends, but take the way of utmost blessedness.
From Islam, we read, nothing is hidden from Allah, whether on earth or in heaven. That's from the Quran 1438, translated by Yusuf. From Taoism, we read, before the universe was born, there was something in the chaos of the heavens. It stands alone and empty, solitary and unchanging. It is ever present and secure. It may be regarded as the mother of the universe. Because I do not know its name, I call it the Tao. If forced to give it a name, I would call it great. Because it is great means it is everywhere. Being everywhere means it is eternal. Being eternal means everything returns to it. Tao is great, heaven is great, earth is great, humanity is great. Within the universe, these are the four great things. Humanity follows the earth follows heaven, heaven follows the Tao follows only itself. This is from the Tao Te Ching 25, translated by MacDonald in public domain. And from the Jewish Tanakh, Exodus 20, we read, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. The third principle of oneness is love and honor parents with care all their lives in obedience and respect. From Hinduism we read, be one to whom a mother is as God, be one to whom a father is as God, be one to whom a spiritual guide or scholars you learn from is as God, be one to whom a guest is as God. Let your actions be uncensurable, none else. Those acts that you consider good when done to you, do those to others, none else. That is from the Taittiriya Upanishad 1:11, translated by Mueller. From Islam we read, thy Lord hath decreed that ye worship none but him, and that ye be kind to parents. Whether one or both of them attain old age in thy life, say not to them a word of contempt, nor repel them, but address them in terms of honor. And out of kindness, lower to them the wing of humility and say, my Lord, bestow on them thy mercy, even as they cherished me in childhood. That is from the Quran 117, 23 and 24, translated by Yusuf.
Hinduism, be one to whom a mother is as God, be one to whom a father is as God, be one to whom a spiritual guide or scholars you learn from is as God, be one to whom a guest is as God. Let your actions be uncensurable, none else. Those acts that you consider good when done to you, do those to others, none else. This is from the Taittiriya Upanishad 1:11. Islam. Thy Lord hath decreed that ye worship none but him, and that ye be kind to parents. Whether one or both of them attain old age in thy life, say not to them a word of contempt, nor repel them, but address them in terms of honor. And out of kindness lower to them the wing of humility, and say, My Lord, bestow on them thy mercy, even as they cherished me in childhood. Quran 1:17.
The fourth principle of oneness is love and honor with respect and humility the ones who teach you righteousness and what they teach you.
Christianity. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service. Don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what is the good, well-pleasing, and perfect will of God. For I say, through the grace that was given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of yourself more highly than you ought to think, but to think reasonably, as God has apportioned to each person a measure of faith. For even as we have many members in one body, and all the members don't have the same function, so we, who are many, are one body in Christ, and individually members of one another, having gifts differing according to the grace that was given to us. If prophecy, let's prophesy according to the proportion of our faith. Or service, let's give ourselves to service. Or he who teaches to his teaching. Or he who exhorts to his exhorting. He who gives, let him do it with generosity. He who rules, with diligence. He who shows mercy, with cheerfulness. Romans chapter 12, Christian Bible. Baha'i faith. That the diverse communions of the earth and the manifold systems of religious belief should never be allowed to foster the feelings of animosity among men is, in this day, of the essence of the faith of God and his religion. These principles and laws, these firmly established and mighty systems, have proceeded from one source and are rays of one light. That they differ from one another is to be attributed to the varying requirements of the ages in which they were promulgated. This is from Epistle to the Son of the Wolf by Mirza Hussein Ali Nuri, also known as Baha'u'llah.
The fifth principle of oneness, love your family with humility, time, and cheer. Taking care of them, encouraging them to lead a life close with God, and setting an example. From Confucianism we read, the noble-minded cultivate roots. When roots are secure, the way is born. To honor parents and elders, isn't that the root of humanity? That's chapter 12 of the Analects of Confucius.
Judaism. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Genesis chapter 2. As a father pities his children, so the Lord pities those who fear him. For he knows our frame. He remembers that we are dust. Psalm 103. These are from the Jewish Tanakh. Christianity. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave you. This is from Ephesians chapter 4 in the Christian Bible.
The next principle, number 6, is the tricky one. The one I think of being like a chocolate with coconut. It is covered in goodness, but inside feels strange and difficult to swallow. It's about loving our neighbor, of course. In a book called The Letters of St. Catherine of Siena, which was translated by Scudder in 1905 and edited by Wright in 2016, we read of this woman's insights on love, loving your neighbor. She lived in the Middle Ages, and she reminds us all that God does not actually need our love. God was the initiator in loving us, not the other way around. So the only way we can initiate love on our own is to choose to love our neighbor. This, of course, does not mean becoming an enabler of adverse behaviors, because loving kindness can mean tough love. However, and that is the hard part, some of our neighbors are like coconuts. And sometimes you may feel it is easier to help someone than it is to love them, your neighbor being anyone but yourself. We don't do this without help from heaven, of course. So number 6, the 6th principle of oneness says, love your neighbors, forgiving their wrongdoings, and showing greater care for the neighbor's possessions in life than you would for your own. From Judaism we read, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his livestock, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. This is from Exodus chapter 20 in the Jewish Tanakh from 1917. Also we read from Judaism, have we not all one Father? Hath not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother, profaning the covenant of our fathers? That is from the Jewish Tanakh, Malachi 2:10.
Buddhism. For hatred does not cease by hatred at any time. Hatred ceases by love. This is an old rule. This is from the Dhammapada.
And a popular atheism tenet and a common saying shared by all is treat others like you want to be treated. The 7th principle of oneness is love the poor, sick, old, weak, handicapped, orphans, widows, lonely, abused, outcasts, and downtrodden with compassion, giving them what they need as much as you can.
Islam. And those who believed and did righteous deeds will be admitted to gardens, beneath which rivers flow, abiding eternally therein, by permission of their Lord, and their greeting therein will be peace. Quran 14. Christianity. Listen, my beloved brothers, didn't God choose those who are poor in this world to be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which he promised to those who love him? James chapter 2, Christian Bible. Atheism and secularism. George Holyoake, an atheist, writing on secularism. Service and endurance are the chief personal duties of man. Secularism holds it to be the duty of every man to reserve a portion of his means and energies for the public service, and so to cultivate and cherish his powers, mental and physical, as to have them ever ready to perform service as efficient as possible to the well-being of humanity. No weakness, no passion, no wavering should be found among those who are battling for the cause of human welfare, which such errors may fatally endure. Self-control, self-culture, self-sacrifice are all essential to those who would serve that cause and would not bring discredit upon their comrades in that service. This is excerpts from the Principles of Secularism by George Jacob Holyoake, chapter 5.
The 8th principle of oneness, stay away from envy, greed, self-centered pride, anger, gluttony, lust, unrighteous desire, sloth or laziness, and unrighteous attachments, to refrain from the temptation of evil. From Stoicism we read, this is from the letters from Seneca, letter number 14. We must follow the old adage and avoid 3 things with special care: hatred, jealousy, and scorn. And wisdom alone can show you how this may be done. Let us withdraw ourselves in every way, for it is as harmful to be scorned as to be admired. From letter 39 we read, it is the quality of a great soul to scorn great things, and to prefer that which is ordinary rather than that which is too great. For the one condition is useful and life-giving, but the other does harm, just because it is excessive. Similarly, too rich a soil makes the grain fall flat. Branches break down under too heavy a load. Excessive productiveness does not bring fruit to ripeness. This is the case with the soul also, for it is ruined by uncontrolled prosperity, which is used not only to the detriment of others, but also to the detriment of itself. Utility measures our needs, but by what standard can you check the superfluous? It is for this reason that men sink themselves in pleasures, and they cannot do without them when once they have become accustomed to them. And for this reason they are most wretched, because they have reached such a pass that what was once superfluous to them has become indispensable. And so they are the slaves of their pleasures instead of enjoying them. They even love their own ills, and that is the worst ill of all. Then it is that the height of unhappiness is reached when men are not only attracted, but even pleased by shameful things, and when there is no longer any room for a cure, now that those things which once were vices have become habits. Farewell. That was excerpts from Moral Letters to Lucilius by Seneca. And from Christianity we read, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law." That's from Galatians 5, Christian Bible, New Testament.
Hinduism, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8. Fearlessness, singleness of soul, the will always to strive for wisdom, open hand and governed appetites, and piety, and love of lonely study, humbleness, uprightness, he to injure naught which lives. Truthfulness, slowness unto wrath, a mind that lightly letteth go what others prize, and equanimity and charity, which spieth no man's faults, and tenderness towards all that suffer, a contented heart, fluttered by no desires, a bearing mild, modest, and grave, with manhood nobly mixed, with patience, fortitude, and purity, an unrevengeful spirit, never given to rate itself too high. Such be the signs, O Indian prince, of him whose feet are set on that fair path which leads to heavenly birth. Deceitfulness and arrogance and pride, quickness to anger, harsh and evil speech, and ignorance to its own darkness blind. These be the signs, my prince, of him whose birth is fated for the regions of the vile.
What is the ninth principle of oneness? It is respect and learn good in others' ways and beliefs, enabling them to learn good from your faith and works more than from your words. From Buddhism we read from the excerpts of the Rock Edicts number 12. These are the words of Asoka, the Buddhist emperor of India. His sacred and gracious majesty, the King Asoka, does reverence to men of all religions, whether ascetics or householders, by gifts and various forms of reverence. His sacred majesty Asoka, however, cares not so much for gifts or external reverence as that there should be a growth of the essence of the matter in all religions. Depreciation of religion should be for specific reasons only, because the religions of other people all deserve reverence for one reason or another. By thus acting, a man exalts his own religion and at the same time does service to the sects of other people. By acting contrariwise, or by condemnation, a man hurts his own religion and does disservice to the religions of other people. For he who does reverence to his own religion while disparaging or condemning religions of others, wholly from attachment to his own, with intent to enhance the splendor of his own religion, in reality, by such conduct, inflicts the severest injury on his own religion. From Christianity we read, Paul stood in the middle of the Areopagus and said, "You men of Athens, I perceive that you are very religious in all things. For as I passed along and observed the objects of your worship, I also found an altar with this inscription, 'To an unknown God.' What therefore you worship in ignorance, I announce to you, the God who made the world and all things in it. He, being Lord of heaven and earth, doesn't dwell in temples made with hands." This is from the Christian Bible, New Testament, the book of Acts. The 10th principle of oneness: maintain your body with care, as the soul given by God lives in it, and preserve and respect nature and all the creation of God, selectively utilizing the resources for righteous purposes. From Christianity we read, or don't you know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have from God? That's from the Christian Bible, New Testament, 1 Corinthians.
Islam, Quran 55, the merciful revealed at Mecca. In the name of the most merciful God, the merciful hath taught his servant the Quran. He created man. He hath taught him distinct speech. The sun and the moon run their courses according to a certain rule. And the vegetables which creep on the ground and the trees submit to his disposition. He also raised the heaven, and he appointed the balance, that ye should not transgress in respect to the balance. Wherefore, observe a just weight, and diminish not the balance. And the earth hath he prepared for living creatures. Therein are various fruits, and palm trees bearing sheaths of flowers, and grain having chaff and leaves. Which, therefore, of your Lord's benefits will ye ungratefully deny?
The 11th principle of oneness says, spend one day a week in worship, spiritual enrichment, enhancement of family togetherness and physical rest, meeting only the needs you must, and fasting as led in your prayers. From Judaism we read, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath unto the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any manner of work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested on the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. This is from Exodus 20:8 through 11 from the Jewish Tanakh. And from Christianity we read, but you, when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that you are not seen by men to be fasting, but by your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. That's from Matthew 6:17 in the Christian Bible, New Testament. Before we get to the 12th and last of the principles of oneness, if you believe this video is worth sharing, please do click, share, like, and subscribe to help us spread this message of oneness. Oneness of God, oneness of humanity. As you can see, if you practice the first one, which is love, worship, and honor God with praise, obedience, sacrifice, humility, and seeking forgiveness, place God first in every thought, word, and action, then that gives you the grace or divine enablement and power to walk out the 2nd through the 11th principles of oneness. The 12th principle is about our journey home. We are, after all, from the heavenly realm. Our earth life is our opportunity to learn to choose to live from the reality of who we are in oneness with God. Our essence is the same, that is to say, as noted by Seneca of Stoicism, who noted that one way of numerous ways to look at this matter is we are like the rays of the sun, which are of the same essence as the sun. You might say we are like emanations of the sun, though not the sun itself. We are emanations of God, and therefore of the same essence, eternal, made of love. Our awareness of this is an unfolding process. Again, there are numerous ways of looking at this matter. If you are an atheist and do not believe in a soul or our eternality, then you can think of this as universal love, or the light that removes darkness from our hearts, or all that is noble. These 12 principles of oneness remind us of who we are, who our fellow humans are, who God is. And when approached with humility, these bring life, character, promote peace within ourselves and with one another. These also encourage us to pursue stewardship of all we have been given dominion over in this earth kingdom for our very short lifespan of opportunity. In our pursuit of the kingdom within, when we walk in humility and gratitude, and we honor this kingdom within, from which flows the source of all love, we will have access to its treasure trove of wisdom, peace, joy, love, and oneness. Humility is the doorway back into our home, the kingdom of heaven. This is the essence of number 12, which is pray without ceasing for oneness, peace, and joy for all, asking God to help you do God's will and to reach God, the ultimate, and to attain oneness with God. From the Tenrikyo religion we read, looking all over the world and through all ages, I find no one who has understood my heart. So should it be, for I have never taught it before? It is natural that you know nothing. This time I, God, revealing myself to the four, teach you all the truth in detail. You are calling this place the Jiba, the home of God in Yamato, but you do not know of its origin. If you are told of this origin in full, great yearning will come over you, whoever you may be. If you wish to hear and will come to me, I will tell you the truth that this place is the origin of any and everything. When I, God, reveal myself and teach you everything in detail, all people in the world will become cheerful. As I hasten to save all of you equally, I will set out to cheer up all the minds of the world. This is from the Songs for the Teodori Yorozuyo. Teodori is the hand dancing, which represents the cheerfulness of the Yoki Garashi, which means the joyous life in Tenrikyo. From Christianity, we read the words of Jesus. Not for these only do I pray, but for those also who will believe in me through their word, that they may all be one, even as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they may also be one in us, that the world may believe that you sent me. The glory which you have given me, I have given to them, that they may be one, even as we are one. I and them, you and me, that they may be perfected into one, that the world may know that you sent me and loved them, even as you loved me. That's from John 17, the Christian Bible, New Testament. From Stoicism we read, letter 41 from Seneca, on the God within us, we do not need to uplift our hands towards heaven or to beg the keeper of a temple to let us approach his idol's ear, as if in this way our prayers were more likely to be heard. God is near you. He is with you. He is within you. This is what I mean, Lucilius. A Holy Spirit indwells within us, one who marks our good and bad deeds and is our guardian. As we treat this Spirit, so are we treated by it. Indeed, no man can be good without the help of God. If ever you have come upon a grove that is full of ancient trees which have grown to an unusual height, shutting out a view of the sky by a veil of pleached and intertwining branches, then the loftiness of the forest, the seclusion of the spot, and your marvel at the thick, unbroken shade in the midst of the open spaces will prove to you the presence of deity. Or if a cave made by the deep crumbling of the rocks holds up a mountain on its arch, a place not built with hands, but hollowed out into such spaciousness by natural causes, your soul will be deeply moved by a certain intimation of the existence of God. Therefore, a greater part of it, soul, abides in that place from whence it came down to earth, just as the rays of the sun do indeed touch the earth, but still abide at the source from which they are sent. That's excerpts from Moral Letters to Lucilius by Seneca.
Philosophy. The first element which constitutes the actual being of the human mind is the idea of some particular thing actually existing. Proof. The essence of man is constituted by certain modes of the attributes of God, namely, by the modes of thinking, of all which the idea is prior in nature, and when the idea is given, the other modes, namely those of which the idea is prior in nature, must be in the same individual by the same axiom. Therefore, an idea is the first element constituting the human mind, but not the idea of a non-existent thing, for then the idea itself cannot be said to exist. It must therefore be the idea of something actually existing, but not of an infinite thing, for an infinite thing must always necessarily exist. This would involve an absurdity. Therefore, the first element which constitutes the actual being of the human mind is the idea of something actually existing. Corollary. Hence it follows that the human mind is part of the infinite intellect of God. Thus, when we say that the human mind perceives this or that, we make the assertion that God has this or that idea, not insofar as he is infinite, but insofar as he is displayed through the nature of the human mind, or insofar as he constitutes the essence of the human mind. And when we say that God has this or that idea, not only insofar as he constitutes the essence of the human mind, but also insofar as he, simultaneously with the human mind, has the further idea of another thing. We assert that the human mind perceives a thing in part or inadequately. This is from excerpts from the Ethics by Baruch Benedict Spinoza, an excommunicated Jewish philosopher. Hinduism, that one, though motionless, is swifter than the mind. The senses can never overtake it, for it ever goes before. Though immovable, it travels faster than those who run. By it, the all-pervading air sustains all living beings. This is from Isa Upanishad 4.
And from Zoroastrianism we read, "But let each give ear to him who has conceived what is right, an enlightened healer of the word, O Ahura, who will have power at will over the words of his tongue, so that they will be verified through thy red fire, O Mazda, in thy good kingdom, at the new dispensation or judgment by thy two ministers. Whosoever comes over to the righteous, for him hereafter will be spared the long duration of misery and darkness, the evil food and woeful words, such as that life to which, O ye wicked, your conscience through your own deeds will lead you. May Ahura Mazda then, out of his rich store, grant unity with will and immortality, with his righteousness and power, aye, the full enjoyment of the good mind, to him who is faithful to him in word and deed. Clear are these things to the wise, as to one confident in mind. It is he that in word and deed promotes righteousness with the good power. It is he, O Mazda, that will be to thee a most profitable servant." This is from the Zend Avesta, public domain, Yasna 31. What I have shared are just a fraction of the corresponding writings from the multiple religions of the world that support these 12 principles of oneness. You can please leave me your ideas for more references in the comments below. Click like, share, and subscribe to do your part to spread this message of oneness and peace. You can find the link below to purchase Ram's book, Voice and Wisdom, and visit our website, onenessmission.world, to learn more. You can contact us at info@onenessmission.world. I thank you for this opportunity, and I will see you very soon again in the next video. Oneness and peace to you. Carry on.